The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is Rishabh. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Struxsoft Solutions, now part of the Greatech Group. And I'm joined by Hannah, our software application specialist, who will walk us through running clash detection and whole series in the latest MWF build. MWF, which stands for Metal Wood Framer, is our flagship software that helps you automate and streamline the modeling and manufacturing of your timber and light gauge steel framing right inside the Autodesk Revit environment. I'd also like to take this time to introduce one of our newest products called FrameLab that was released earlier this year, which is designed to improve multidisciplinary coordination around critical areas in your framing. You can learn more about this product on our website, www.struxsoftsolutions.com. And now, as we move on to the presentation, please note that if you wish to ask any questions about this webinar over the course of the presentation, you can type them in the questions tab of the GoToWebinar dashboard. We shall take those questions down and answer them directly via email after the webinar has been completed. If you would like to view this recorded version of this webinar, you can do so on our YouTube channel or our social media accounts such as LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook by 5:30 p.m. EST today. And that's it from me. I do hope you enjoy the webinar, and I will leave this floor open to Hannah.
Great. Thanks, Rishabh. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Hannah from Struxsoft Solutions, and today's webinar is about MWF multi-layer clash detection and whole series. So we're going to be covering two operations in this webinar. These two operations have different commands that we will be using. And also we will be covering the two scopes within each operation. We're going to be covering walls, multi-layer walls and multi-layer floors within clash detection. And for MEP whole series, we're also going to cover multi-layer walls and multi-layer floors. So let's jump into the model and take a look at our project. And please keep in mind that the engineering aspect in this model is representational. So this project was created to demonstrate the software capabilities only. So it may not be 100% accurately engineered. So let's take a look here. I'm just going to turn the view here to take a look at this project. And let's talk about the components that it is made up of. So the elements that we have here in this project for today, we have some architectural elements. We have a small, just structural element here. And we do have some MEP elements. Let's talk about the architectural elements first. Let's talk about the walls and the floors. So we have these Revit walls and floors that have been pre-created for this presentation. I'm just going to open the edit type here. Just going to take a quick look at the structure. I'm not going to make any changes, but I just want to show that this wall consists of several layers. We have the structural layer, and we have the two finishes layers above the core boundary and below the core boundary. Just going to close this and click on OK. We have two types of walls here. And you'll also notice that we have pre-created these panels here for these walls prior to the presentation. You'll also notice that we do have sheathing. So this is a multi-layer wall. And let's talk about the floor here a little bit. Just going to hover and select it. So this is a Revit floor created with Revit, and this has been pre-paneled with MWF. Also, I just want to note that there's a structural layer here, and there's also a finish layer. And you'll notice that it has also been pre-paneled, and we also do have sheathing for this floor here. Okay, let's take a look at the MEP elements in this project. I'm just going to take a better view here just to take a look at what's going on, and let's zoom in. So you'll notice here that we have some pipes happening here. I'm going to just mention a few things here. We do have some types of these pipes, and this is going to be very important later on. And this is because we're going to have to specify some hole types for these pipes, okay? So we have the 4-inch, and we have a 1.5-inch, and we also have, we have the 1/2-inch here. And the goal today is to create openings in these panels for these elements. We also have some ducting going on over here, so we also have to deal with this clash right there. So that's the MEP portion. And as for like the structural portion, I really just added a beam here for variety. Keep in mind, this could also be a duct or whatever object. The point is to run some clash detection here because we do see a clash right there if I zoom in. So this is what we're going to be covering for today. So let's start first with the clash detection portion. So what I'm going to do first, actually, I just want to mention something. This is the latest MWF user interface. So I'm using the latest build, and I'm using Revit 2023. Right now, we can see that all of the all modules are showing. I'm going to switch to the mall module for now. And to start with our command, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this clashing member here. And using the tab, if I need, I'm going to also, and control, I'm going to select these two objects. So it's the wall, it's the architectural wall, and it's the structural element here. I'm going to go to MWF, the wall module, and I'm going to go to the interference menu here under wall coordination. And this is the menu that we're going to be focusing on for today. We're going to be focusing on some, not all of the commands for today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on clash detection, and we're going to get this window here. Here it says intersecting categories, and this menu is entitled cut opening options. So since I have already selected the members that I want to solve the clash for, I don't actually have to specify anything here. But if you don't want to have a selection pre-selected prior to running this command, you can specify what categories you want to run a clash detection for. Also, I just want to mention that you can add a rule set. So you can add a rule set so that everything is pre-arranged prior to selecting this particular command. I will not use this for now. You can also use linked Revit files. You can merge openings, and you can also use this for arc walls. I'm going to select the tick because I'm going to start running the command. And I have this other window on my other screen here. So this is the cut opening tolerance. So what it's asking me now is to specify the tolerance around the object. So TL stands for the left tolerance, TR stands for the right tolerance, top tolerance TT, and bottom tolerance TB. You don't have to specify tolerance. I had pre-specified a 1/2 inch everywhere. If you tick this option, it's going to apply to multiple clashes. Right now, we only have one. But if you have multiple ones and you don't want to add a tolerance every time, you would just click this option. You can also add a framing type. So you can choose from the different types of opening framing. I'm not going to pick one for now. I'm just going to use the out of the box option, and I'm going to click on OK. And let's zoom in to see what happened here. And you'll notice that now we have a rectangular straight wall opening that has been created with the software. But you'll also notice that there's still a clash. So the software did not automatically update accordingly. To do this, we have to do a manual procedure. So I'm just going to click on one panel member here. I'm going to go to MWF menu. We're still in the wall module. And we have a command here that is called regenerate, and I'm going to click on regenerate. So since this is a multi-layer wall, it's going to prompt me to specify the category. So I'm just going to keep it as is. I'm going to regenerate all of these categories because I also want to, I want the opening to affect the sheathing as well. I'm going to click on OK, but before I do that, I want to mention that I could have also regenerated under the wall multi-layer, under operation, there's also a regenerate option here for multi-wall layer, but it doesn't matter, it'll do the same thing. Let's click on OK. And it's going to just take a minute here. Okay, let's zoom in. So now we'll notice that it has framed around this opening, but also you'll notice something else. Let me isolate this. I'm gonna isolate this element. You'll notice that it also created an opening in the sheathing. Okay, so that was part one. Part two, we're going to do some clash detection for the floor here. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select these objects here, these MEP objects, just gonna zoom in, and I'm just gonna make a selection and use Control to add to my selection. And we also need to remember to add the floor. I had cut the floor previously just for the purpose of this demonstration. I'm gonna use the tab to be able to select it and Control. So now I have selected the elements that I want to run the clash detection for. For floors, I'm going to have to switch to the floor module here. You'll notice the menu is now all in green. We have the same tool in floors. It's also called interference and it's also called clash detection. So I'm going to click on this option here. You have the same options that we have seen before. And again, you can specify the categories that you want included in your clash detection. I'm not going to do that for now because I use the selection technique. You can add an angle tolerance. You can also add a rule set if you can use a rule set if you want, or use an opening data mapping rule. I'm not going to do that for now. You can also use links, and you can merge openings. I'm not going to tick this for now anyway. So I just want to mention something. We're going to get an error for this element here because it's not intersecting the floor. So it's okay if we're going to get an error message, just to give you a heads up. So it's going to ask me the same question as it did before for walls. It's going to ask me for a tolerance. I'm not going to add a tolerance for now. We can create a round opening if you want. I'm not going to do that right now. You can apply to all. If you have multiple openings that you're creating, you can insert sleeve. I'm actually not going to do that. And I'm just going to, just going to click on OK here. Sorry, it was trying to get a sleeve. Okay, so this is the error message that I was telling you about. This is completely normal if you get a message like this. This is because the this object here does not actually go through the floor. That is completely fine. I'm just going to close it. And let's zoom in and see what happened here. Just going to click on escape. Okay, so this is the floor opening cut. If you see here under properties, this is it. And this has been generated by the software. Let's actually take a better look here. Again, you'll notice that the panels have not been adjusted accordingly. We have to do this ourselves. And to do this, we're gonna just select one member here. Gonna go to the MWF Pro Suite. So when when we're updating floors, before we actually use the regenerate option here, we have to do one step in advance, which is to update the profile. So I'm going to select the floor and I'm going to click here on update profile. Okay, so I'm going to get this error message again. It's just going to tell me that there are identical instances in the same place. It's because I had two floors side by side. This is okay. And now we have updated the profile. And let's regenerate. Okay, so now this has been updated. You'll notice that it created some panels around this opening and we have solved this clash. So we have solved the two clashes that we wanted to solve. One of them was walls and the other one was with floors. And now we can move on to the next scope of our presentation, which is MEP whole series. So to do this, before we actually do this, we do have to specify the holes that we want to create for the MEP clash detection. We have to do this prior to starting with our MEP clash operation. And since we're here in the floor module, I might as well just go ahead and create one for the floors. To do this, I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to find the Project Hole Series option. So I have this pop up on my other window. And what this will do is you will be able to create different hole types for the different pipes that we have seen before. Remember, we mentioned that we have three different sizes for the pipes. This is why we have to create three different hole sizes. So to create a new one, you would click on Create New. I'm just going to make a fake hole for now. I'm just going to call it test. You can specify the profile if you want it to be round, rectangular, rectangular void, round void slot, or a certain CNC code. I'm going to keep it as round and click on OK. You can offset it from the center. You can add a CNC code, and this is where you would specify the diameter. I'm actually going to delete this because we don't need it. I have pre-created the holes that we would need. So I'm just going to delete, and I'm going to click on OK. So we're done with the holes for the floor. We have to create holes for the walls. To do this, we have to switch to Wall Module. And again, you'll find this command under Tools. And we're going to look for Edit Hole Series. Sorry, I have to select a panel here. And I'm going to go again to Tools and Edit Hole Series. There you go. This is the menu I was trying to get to. So here, you need to specify the hole type. These are the options that are available. Lip notch, dimple. We're going to be using void hole for now. And you would give it a name. So let's make a test one for now. And then you would add it. So there it is. You can give it a CNC operation code, and any changes you make here, you would click on Update. These are the members of the panel that are going to be included. So you would be making holes in these members. You can check or uncheck whatever you want. Here you would change the size. You would click on Edit Shape, and you would get this window here where you would specify the diameter, and you would specify the family type of the opening. I'm going to keep this as round void line based and click on OK. We don't need this, so I'm actually going to remove it. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to click on Save and Close. Okay. So now that our whole series are ready for walls and for floors, now we're ready to go to this menu here. This is the interference menu that we talked about before. We already tried this before. We're going to talk about these commands here. We're actually going to start at the bottom, and eventually we're going to do an MEP clash. But first, let's actually click on the MEP clash mapping. And let's take a look at this menu here. So these are the valid categories. So these are the Revit objects in the model that you can actually run MEP clash detection with. I have unselected everything I don't need. So there's conduits, conduit fittings. I don't need these. Structural connection. I don't need these. I only need the pipes. So that's the only thing I have selected. You can place straps. I'm not going to do that for now. And here under pipes, you'll start to see, whenever you click on a category, you'll start to see the families that are in the project. So remember, we mentioned that we have the 3 different types of pipes in our project. There they are. We also have a default that we are not using, so I haven't really specified anything here. But for this type, for example, the 1.5 inch, I had pre-specified here, if I click on this arrow, I had pre-specified that I would like to use the round hole 1.5 wall hole for the wall series. So this has been specified. And we can also specify for the floors at the same time. So I had also pre-specified prior to the webinar that we're going to use this hole type that we had just seen in the tools. Here, if you have this selected, it's going to cut the sheathing, and this is also what we want. As for the sheathing cut shape, you can specify if you want it round or if you want it rectangle. For now, we're going to keep it as round. You can add a tolerance if you want. I'm not going to do that, but you could. So here, this is the whole alignment. I'm going to keep this as MEP center, because this way it's going to create the hole in the center of the MEP object. So this one here, if you select this one, the framing center, it's going to actually create the hole in the middle of the framing member. So this is not what we're going to use for now. So that's it. We're done here, and I'm going to click on OK. The next thing we have to do is the MEP clash definitions. I have pre-created an operation here, but if you haven't, you would just click on add and give it a name. You can also rename or modify or delete, so you can have multiple operations here. I'm going to actually just show you what I had done here, and I clicked on modify. Again, you'll see the valid categories. Again, you'll notice that I only selected the pipes among all these elements here. You can here select all or select none. I just unticked this one here because we don't have it in the project. So these are the pipes that we actually have in the project, and these are the pipes that we want to create the holes for. And this here on this part, these are the structural tags. You can select all or select none. And I'm going to have it selected. I'm going to select all of them because basically these are the MWF members that we are clashing with. You can uncheck anything that you don't want to have it applied to. I'm just going to click on OK. And now we're ready. So I'm going to click on OK again. And now we're ready to run some clash detection for MEP. So now I'm going to click on the MEP clash tool. You'll notice that the icon of the cursor here has changed. And here at the bottom it says select members of one or more panels. So I'm actually going to select the members of a member of the panels that I want to run clash detection, MEP clash detection for. I'm going to click on this one. I'm also going to click on floors because floors is included in the same command, and this one here. And then when I'm done, I just need to click on escape. And it's going to prompt me to select the operation of my choice. So it's going to be this one, and I'm going to click on OK. So now it's just going to do its thing for the floors and for the walls. It's going to tell me here that it's complete and 34 holes were punched. And let's click on OK and see what happened here. So let's take a closer look at what happened. OK. And I think it's better to isolate category to see what happened. Okay, so you'll notice that multiple holes have been created with the different sizes that we have specified and in the different locations, and locations are according to the pipe locations. You'll also notice that there's a hole that has been created for the sheathing. Maybe I'll just take a closer look at this one actually. Let me isolate this one. So you'll notice here that there's a hole that has been created here for the sheathing as well. So we have created the whole series for the walls and for the floors at the same time. And that's it for today. This concludes our webinar for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to be giving the mic back to Rishab.
Thank you, Hannah, for that demonstration. And now to wrap things up, I'd just like to remind you that any questions that were sent to us over the course of this presentation will be responded to directly via email within the next 24 hours. And I'd also like to invite you to visit our LinkedIn channel, linkedin.com/company/StruxSoft Solutions, where you can find weekly educational content, articles about trending topics, and also where you can view the recorded version of this session. If you would like further clarification about MWF's features, then feel free to reach out to us by emailing info@struxsoftsolutions.com. Additionally, if you would like to set up a one-on-one demonstration or a training with one of our product experts, we will be happy to do so as well. And that's the end of this webinar. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we do hope you have a great day ahead.